Next up is the wood saws. What I have right here is a tree that's been chopped down a while ago to make way for my mountain bike path. So it's not dry, but it's probably dry enough to get a little saw action on. And of course, we're starting with the fixed blade or non-folding. I'm gonna put a little pressure on this because I'm holding the camera with one hand, sawing with the other. And granted, this is a crappy, dull, old POS saw. A little bit. We'll do another one. We'll do 5 back and forth motions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I may have went a 1/4 inch in. Now the folding counterpart is Corona, which has a lock closed, lock open. We're gonna do 5 back and forth if I can get it to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not even pulling the whole way. 5. I'm already halfway through that. Granted, my fixed blade was a POS, and this is almost brand new. You know, it did a whole lot better. The folding saw did a whole lot better. Now, had I had an actual saw, which this is all I had in the shop because I use electric saws mostly. I don't do a lot of hand cutting. Corona 1. Moves me over to our fixed blade biting knife / survival knife and our folding, soon to be modified, Gerber fast, spring assisted, button lock, which is really easy to do when you have gloves on. You know, that's the point of this. That's why it's not a liner lock. I don't know if you've had gloves on and trying to do a liner lock or anything like that. It's not easy. So let's get on with that test. So I have a probably about 3/4 inch fresh chute that is running right across my dang mountain bike trail, so I need it removed anyway. Now these are survival and combat knives, whatever you want to call them, fighting knife. They're just knives. Knives are tools. They're not for fighting or for this, that, and the other. They're for whatever you use them for. They're meant to cut. They'll cut. So we'll start off with the fixed blade. Now this has been used quite a lot in the past 2 years, I think. So we're just going to do a cut test on a fresh limb. You should not chop with a knife unless you really have to. First off, it damages your blade. There's a chance you can cut yourself. This, that, and the other. So we're going to take a few little strokes and see if we can't get this to cut. Okay, well, too bad. Now to save on trees, I'll have a larger size diameter towards the base of the tree that I'm going to use the folding knife for. Now this thing is dull as can be. I mean, it still has an edge, but it's not razor sharp. It's not going to shave. You know, it probably won't feather stick right now. It's in a shitty state with shitty Chinese steel, but it is what it is. I like it. It's a cool shape, fits in your hand good, and if all goes well, we should be able to cut through this tree. So I don't have a tripod, so I'm just resting on a bed of pine needles. Okay. Cut it. About the same amount of effort. The only thing that the fixed blade has over the folder, other than durability and longevity, this has a more comfortable handle than this. But this fits your handle better, your hand better than this handle. So I will give it to. I tell you, it's a dang draw. As long as you know the proper use of knives, you shouldn't be chopping. You really shouldn't be batoning, unless you have one designed specifically for that. But that changes it from a knife to let's call it a micro machete or something similar. All right, let's move on. These guys got it. Next up, we have a hatchet known as the fist scars versus a pack axe, which this is an antique. I probably shouldn't be beating this up, but you know, it's a tough folding tool. If you're just chopping stuff like this, not trying to split firewood, I almost guarantee they're going to be equal as far as the way they perform for chopping, which is their primary duty, is to chop. You know, you can use these to skin, to feather stick, you know, to make whatever you need to make in a survival situation. But their primary use is to chop. So I'm going to chop this down. Now this one's not in the way of anything, but it's a really nice piece of wood, and I'm probably going to make a walking stick out of it. So without further ado, fist scars, XR 7-ish Mabob versus a 1.5 to 2 inch diameter tree. As you can see, it's pretty much chopped. Final swing. Timber! Now I haven't sharpened this thing, but I think once. And that was when I first got it, because it had too steep of a bevel for me. I like more of a shallower bevel. But in a survival situation or camping, if you need to create shelter, if you're allowed to chop down a green tree, this is nice. Good to have. Stays sharp. It's lightweight. It doesn't have a wood handle, but in an emergency situation, you could haft a new handle out of wood if you knew what you were doing. Next up, we got the underdog, the unknown. We got a folding axe. It folds up. Yes, it's not as durable because it has hinges, but I'm sure if I had a wood handle axe about the same size, that wood handle would give out before this hinge would give out. We've already seen it with the plastic in the shovel giving out. Didn't even know it was like that when I come out here. It must have been, I dug up a rock or two doing some prospecting. So I've never sharpened this. I've knocked some burrs off it, but it's never been altered. It's got a really steep bevel on it, unlike this one, which I fixed. So it might perform differently because it's a different grind. Okay, I couldn't just peel it off. I wanted this to do all the work. So, same amount of effort. This has a shorter handle, so you get a little more leverage with this big one. But this one requires more dexterity to operate for a longer period of time. And again, with the handles, as we saw in the comparison between the Gerber and the Gerber Fast and the Gerber Prodigy, this handle's more comfortable, obviously. But this one still chopped the same tree in probably about the same amount of time with about the same amount of effort. So, you know, more compact, possibly more longevity, more comfortable, more leverage, but, you know, you fold this up, which, slide that button down to release the blade, pull the hinge out. I mean, this is about the size of that head. If you only need an axe for emergency situations because you carry a large chopper or a micro machete, you know, this might be for you. The weight's about the same. So, honestly, folder versus fixed so far, there's no difference as long as they're properly used and, you know, maintained well. And that leads me to my last. So I got tools scattered everywhere. My last two comparisons. I've got a fixed blade wood handle, bushcraft hunting style knife, you know, a field knife. And then I also have an Opinel number 12. Now this is the most similar comparison I could find. You know, we'll see how they match up in the stump. And this is a folder. The Pathfinder's got a thicker blade, obviously, you know. Freaking huge compared to this one. They both got wood handles. I figured people would, you know, not everybody likes combat style knives, so I'd give them a good comparison and show them a fixed wood handle, you know, more practical knife. Which these both are practical knives. And the fact that this folds up and can fit in your pocket compared to this after being on a sheath with, I made a custom Kydex scout style sheath, and it's very comfortable with this knife. It sticks out a little bit past your hip, but I can get my good purchase on it and, you know, pull it out, draw it, do what I need to do. So to find a good suitable job for these, I'm gonna take that tree we just cut down and do a light chopping, because, you know, the bushcrafters, they like to chop stuff. They chop everything with their knife or their hatchet. So we're gonna give it a little whack. Make maybe a notch or something. Okay, it's not too bad. Couple whacks, do the little notch. Now for the Opinel, I don't know how the French say it, but an Opinel number 12 in Scanvic stainless steel. I got it locked for safety reasons because, you know, it's a folder, and, you know, this has a little more handle. It's got a little more handle than Pathfinder. So let's see what she she does. The thinner blade, it's not chipping out as much, but it's cutting just as well. I mean, not as clean, and I'm still I'm new to using the open nail. It's a newer knife to me. About 2 weeks in of owning it, I've done a couple small tasks, and I mean, they perform pretty. Honestly, you get more control. I think I have more control with this knife because I've used this extensively than I do with this knife, which I've only used at work a handful of times to cut open some boxes, and a couple little day hikes out in the woods with, you know, not a whole lot of cutting going on, just observing the scenery. So I think they both performed about the same. Now, I think in conclusion, if there's an argument that a fixed blades are always going to be better, do you really want to carry? We'll just go ahead and check it out. Do you really want to carry? You have to have everything. Let me go ahead and get it all together. Put all the fixed blade stuff right here. Fixed blade, fixed blade, fixed blade. I got some fixed blades. I got some fixed blades. And some folders. Let's get them next to each other. The folders all folded up. And as long as you keep a little oil on these right here, it will not come loose or rattle while it's in your pack. If you've never used one of these before or owned one of these, don't put your 2 cents in on how they perform, because they perform great. Knock some of that dirt off, because it's that Carolina clay. So, in retrospect, oh, I dropped my damn camera. Dropped my darn camera. I know fixed blade stuff has more durability. I know fixed blade, you know, can potentially be a better suit, but does every tool you have to be a fixed blade? Which tools do you use more than others? I mean, if you have to dig a poop hole every now and again, why do you want to tote this in your bag? Why would you want a condor of the same size if you're just digging poopy holes? You know, if you get poop on it, you're gonna have to put this head in a bag or something. I can fit that easier in a bag. Look how much smaller size. Look how compact this is. You know, in comparison to a hat, I can almost cover a majority of it up with a hat. So every tool doesn't have to be fixed blade to carry it. If I had a scale in the woods, which I don't, I'm sure this would weigh less than all that. I know I can fit all this right here in a small bag, which right now, that Maxpedition Sitka right there, you know, I could pack all this stuff in there and not have room for anything else. No food, no water, or I could pack some of this stuff up in here and some of this, or all of this, and have a buttload of room